Well, as you can see by the title of this video, this episode may be a little sad. I knew at some point in my life I would be dealing with a lot of loss, but I didn't realize that it would be this soon in my life, or the people that I've lost in my life. Earlier this year, one of my best friends from my childhood, his dad had a stroke and passed away. And his dad was one of those guys that I really looked up to. He was always there for scout camps, church activities, sporting events. He was always there. And I spent a lot of time with my friend and his dad, and we did a lot of things together. And so to lose him so early on was really hard. I could see their house from my parents' backyard, and I'm always thinking to myself, I need to go talk to him and like show him who I am now. And it's been years since I've really chatted with him, and I'm sure he'd love to catch up. I'd love to catch up. He was such a cool guy and such a good role model to look up to, and I never did, and I will always regret that now because he's gone. I never got that opportunity. I can only imagine what his family's going through because he's just gone way too early. And the reason for my ride today, as I mentioned earlier, I work for the Lifetime company. And I don't know if you've heard about this or not. It's kind of a big deal because Lifetime's a very large company, but our CEO was in a really bad accident over the weekend, and that accident claimed his life and his daughter's life. And work this week has just been so depressing. Our CEO's name is Richard, and I'm not saying Lifetime is a perfect place to work. It's a great place to work, but like any place, there's reasons to want to leave and there's reasons to want to stay, and Richard was one of those reasons. He made you feel special and important, and you weren't just a number in the company, you were a person that he cared about, part of this family that is making this gigantic company function and work. And I had opportunities to work closely with him, travel with him. He was a pilot and he flew the company plane when we went on visits to other Lifetime locations, and he'd let you come into the cockpit and sit there with him and chat. He'd like to ask you questions about your life and get to know you, and he always remembered your name, and he was just one of those guys. So to hear about this happening to him, it just feels like work will never be the same. Lifetime will never be the same. He was definitely the heart of Lifetime. To understand how amazing this guy is, I'm going to his viewing right now, which is being held at an event center. There are so many people in this state that admired this guy, and words can't describe how sad and how big of a loss this is. I doubt his family will ever see this video, but if you do, I'm really sorry. So I don't know how much talking I'm gonna do on the way, because I'm just trying to brace myself. I mean, my buddy's dad and Richard, these are two men that I looked up to a lot. And to have both of them taken away well before their time, it just sucks. I'm not super familiar with this area, but I looked it up before I left, and I think I'm headed in the right direction. Guessing it's that big dome right there, but I don't know how to get to it. Something feels funny down here, which makes me a little nervous. Yep. Something does not feel quite right down there. Well, that was extremely sad. Well, that was extremely sad. I stood in line for about 3 hours, I think. That sunset is incredible. Wow. The line went around the entire stadium. And the end, talking to his family, was just rough. So I don't know the full story. I just know from what the news has put out, but apparently they were on a 2-lane road coming home from boating. It was him and I believe 3 of his kids, I'm not sure, and truck hauling some heavy equipment lost his load, which fell into their lane and just destroyed their car. So him and his 16-year-old daughter passed away. It's really hard to know what to say to his family as you're giving them hugs and stuff. Like, I didn't really know them, I just knew Richard, and I'm sure they've heard the same thing all day long. Well, I am back on my way to the event center for the funeral now. Something was definitely going on with my front wheel yesterday. It was like when I was braking, it kind of felt like something was loose or kind of clunking around. So as soon as I got home last night, I took the wheel off, and first thing this morning, I ran down to the place who installed them and I had them rebalance it. He said it was balanced fine. He redid it anyways. He moved the weights, the stick-on weights, to a different location. And I don't know, I thought with spoked wheels, they didn't need to use the stick-on weights. I thought they just tuned the spokes to balance the wheel, or at least that's what I thought. But I guess I'm wrong. He moved the weights to the center of the wheel versus on the side, but he says it's zeroed in. I asked him, how would I know if there's something wrong with the tire itself? He's like, well, if you still have problems, he's like, just reach out to the company, say you've had it balanced twice, and there must be something wrong with the tire at that point. So hopefully it's fixed, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because these are a little knobbier than my other tires and that's what they feel like, but I really don't know. I'm guessing the turnout for the funeral today is going to be massive. There are as many people as there were last night willing to wait in line to see the family. I can only imagine what the funeral will be like. I can feel kind of like a slight vibration in my my brake lever. I don't know who has experience with knobbier tires. These aren't even that knobby, but if you have experience with them, like, is the ride that much bumpier? I mean, these really don't, they're 80% highway and 20% off-road, so I wouldn't think that they'd be that bumpy, but I mean, if you have experience with knobbier tires, definitely let me know, because should I be concerned that the ride's a little more bumpy? I don't know how to explain if it's a bad thing or not. I kind of feel like maybe I have a bad front tire. I don't think this is where I want to turn, actually. I can never remember. I think it's the next light. Oh, this is right. Oh yeah, there's a lot of people here. Okay, well, well, that was really sad, but also really cool to see how many people came out to support them. And Richard was a really awesome guy. Like, I really looked up to him, and everybody else looked up to him too. It's one of a kind guy.